Welcome back to 1 Samuel chapter 3, which is a very popular chapter, which is often retold in children's churches or kids' church, if I can call it that. And it's that story where Samuel was sleeping in the temple. This was when he was already starting his ministry under the guidance of God and Eli. And God called out to Samuel, Samuel, and he thought it was Eli. He went to Eli saying that, "Here I am, you called to me." And he said, "No, I did not. Go back to sleep." Then God did it a second time. He went to Eli and said, "You called me. Here I am. No, I didn't. Go back to sleep." It happened a third time. And when he got to Eli the third time, Eli realized, oh, wait, it's God calling to Samuel. And he said, "It is the Lord speaking to you. Go back. And when you hear his voice again, say, 'Speak, Lord, your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went back. I can imagine as a kid, this was a big deal because the word of the Lord was very scarce in that time. And for him to be able to have the privilege to hear God's voice audibly as a child was a big deal. And he went back, lied on his bed, and the Lord spoke out, "Samuel," and he said, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." And then he said, "I'm going to do everything that I warned Eli about concerning his sons and what they have been doing wrong." In the previous chapter, we've learned that Hophni and Phinehas, Eli's sons, were disrespectful as priests and misusing the woman, and they did not do what they were called to do. And this was a big deal that he was going to wipe out his bloodline. And he says that as a sign of it, both his sons will die on the same day, which is actually what happens in chapter 4 of 1 Samuel. And he warns Samuel about this, and Samuel laid there the whole night thinking about what he just heard. He woke up, he opened everything up at the temple, and he avoided Eli at first and didn't want to speak to him because this was a big thing to share. And Eli said, "Please share with me, and if you withhold anything, may there be consequences." And Samuel told him everything. And then Eli said, "May the Lord's will be done." And I can imagine how hard it must have been for Eli to hear such bad news that it got so bad that his bloodline will be wiped out. His two sons will be wiped out. And because they messed up as priests, will be the big consequences. And that's basically chapter 3. It reminds me that when we have a ministry, we should do it with honor and respect and not take it lightly, and to know that it is an important thing to minister to the Lord. Obviously, this was a different time compared to now that we're after the cross, and this was before the cross. But still, whatever ministry you have, whether it's teaching or evangelism or prophecy or hosting or whatever it may be, do it diligently as if to the Lord, because it is a big responsibility to be able to be in ministry in whatever capacity it may be. And that just reminds me that it is a big deal. It's important. We don't want to end up like Hophni and Phinehas, and we should take the Lord's warning seriously. If the Lord warns you about something, listen. If he calls out your name, listen to him and say, "Speak, Lord, your servant is listening." There's one time where I was at a church and we were jumping on a jumping castle. As a kid, I kept on hearing my name being called, and I thought it was my dad. And he said, "I didn't call you." And to this day, I believe there was actually God's voice audibly calling me. And it meant so much to me because eventually I went into ministry, and I'm still into ministry. And I kind of compare myself to Samuel sometimes. There are some things that I can relate to with him. The fact that he was in ministry, I was in ministry. I wasn't a priest, definitely not. But I was also trained in theological studies and learned about the Bible, did Bible school, did ministry training, all of that, still in ministry. The first Sunday of this month in September, I did a message on Jesus and Bartimaeus, and I have the privilege of preaching, and I am really grateful for it. So I can definitely say that when the Lord calls you to do something, you do it. And last year, we started this podcast, and I'm still doing it. Really grateful for that, and thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to going into chapter 4, which is an intense chapter, but I will see you there.